Hi again, everyone. I'm Ollie Matthews. This is the Narcissistic Resistance, and this resistance video is sponsored by contribution from Christina. And here's her story. And I've done videos for Christina in the past. I believe she was cut out of her will, or the mother left her $10 in a will. Hi, Ollie. There are some things that my mother did many years ago that have always confused me, and I'd like your reaction to them. This won't be a linear story. I'll just number the instances. They're kind of related, so they're fragmented that I can't make a story out of them. Please comment on each instance. Here goes. 1. When I was 16 years old, my mother forced me to go to church for the first time in my life. I had been doing some typical teenager stuff. Believe me, it was just normal rebellion. I wasn't doing anything illegal. I wasn't having sex or doing drugs or skipping school. Basically, my list of sins was being sarcastic, talking back, bad grades, and listening to Guns N' Roses. Oh, I wasn't a bad kid either, but yet I was always made out to be something I wasn't. Anyway, I did not want to go to church because I considered myself an atheist. Our family had never gone to church in my life. My mother would watch some religious shows sometimes and listen to gospel music, but she mainly kept it to herself and didn't do it much. Anyway, when I was 16, acting like a very normal 16-year-old, she told me that I needed religion. My mother, father, and I attended church every Sunday and then ate at Denny's afterwards for 3 months. I hated it. My father didn't say he hated it, but he looked miserable, and since he was used to sleeping until noon every Sunday, I wouldn't be surprised if he hated it too. After 3 months, we didn't go to church together anymore. My father went back to sleeping until noon, and my mother also stopped going to church altogether too. I, however, was forced to attend Sunday mornings, and now I had to go to Sunday school. Also, my mother did the same fucking thing to me. She used to drag me to church as a little kid. And when she got bored, she forced me to go after Sunday, put me in Sunday school, and then forced me to go to church after Sunday school. I didn't. It was the only time I ever cut out any, because I wasn't sitting in that fucking service like that. I wasn't doing it. I wasn't. None of the kids after Sunday school. We all just went into the gym and played basketball, and she had no idea. She never knew. She never knew I never went to church because she was such a hypocrite. She never went back herself. I fought hard against this. My mother and I argued almost daily about this. After months of fighting, she said I had to go to Sunday school and the main service for the youth group night. All she was trying to do was ruin your teenage years. That's all she was trying to do. She was looking for any opportunity to ruin your childhood, to ruin your teenage years. That's what she was doing. That's what they do. Most weeks I chose the youth group because I didn't have to get dressed up or get up early. I really wish I had never gone to that church because it messed me up for over 30 years. I developed a fear of hell and God's judgment that I've just recently gotten over. I'm 45 years old. I don't think the church is a good place for victims of narcissistic abuse because we already have so much internalized shame that all that preaching about what low-life sinners we are is very triggering. Look, it's the same pattern that you deal with your narcissist. You're being told that there's something wrong with you that no one can see. And then when you bring religion and God into it, well, that can't be questioned. Otherwise, you're a heathen and you're going to fucking burn in hell. Right. Not for being a lying, manipulative cunt. That won't get you sent to hell. That doesn't. Listening to Guns N' Roses is what's gonna put you in hell, right? Fighting back against their lies and their fucking abuse. That's what's gonna put you in hell, right? Before I was forced to go to church, my mother went alone to different churches every Sunday and talked to different youth pastors about me and my bad behavior. Yep, my mother just, not at church, but they love to badmouth you. They will badmouth you to anyone who will listen, and they will use religion because then you're going against God. And she chose the church that she eventually forced me to go to because the youth pastor there said he would make sure to evangelize me and convert me. The youth pastor was a nice man, but again, I wish I had been spared the indoctrination and fear it instilled in me. Also, I want you to know that my mother never went to church again. Never, because it wasn't about religion. It was about control and abuse. 2, this instance is a short one, but that doesn't mean it hasn't impacted me greatly. It's something I think about a lot and causes me great pain. The first time I brought my eventual husband home to meet my parents, my mother said to my new boyfriend, "Well, if you don't marry my daughter, maybe you can give her a job one day." So, if her pussy isn't good enough, so what she's basically saying, if my daughter's pussy isn't up to your standard, can you at least give her a job? Because she's basically useless without her vagina. That's basically what your mother told you in that moment, that you are only valued through your pussy. Let me put this into context. I and my boyfriend were 17 and in our senior year of high school. My boyfriend had a 4.0 GPA, a full scholarship to college, and had a reputation of being the smartest student at school. It's been almost 30 years since she said that, but I still think about it at least once a week, and it makes my face hot with embarrassment, just like it did then, because she told you you're only good for your fucking pussy. 3, when I was first dating my eventual husband, we had a car with a sunroof. He liked to take the sunroof out every time he drove the car, except when it was raining or snowing. When it turned winter, he would ask me if he could take the sunroof out. When the temperatures dropped into the 40s, I always said no. He told me that he was used to having the sunroof out even when it was cold, and he loved it. But I always told him that it would be too cold and uncomfortable for me. Well, one night, after I had said no again for the 1000th time, he got angry, pulled over to the shoulder of an exit ramp, and took the sunroof out. I screamed, yelled, and begged him not to. We drove around for 20 minutes. Even though I wasn't speaking to him, he knew I was furious. He told me he'd pull over at the soonest and put it back in. After he put the sunroof in, I told him to take me home. He told me on the way home how unreasonable I am and that I'm a killjoy. When we got home, I told him, "Don't call me. I'll call you after I've decided if I want to see you again." He had only been dating a couple months. We had only been dating a couple months, and I thought this incident was a red flag. Even though I really liked him, I thought I should probably break up with him because this was too much of a red flag for me. Also, I was so young, only 17. When my parents got home that night, I told them what happened. My father was furious. I can't remember my mother's reaction. Anyway, my boyfriend called my house to speak to me. I refused to come to the phone. I wanted time to think about being confused by an emotional conversation. He wouldn't stop calling, though. My mother talked to him on the phone several times. Each conversation was at least an hour long. What? With a 17-year-old over a sunroof? Look, I get it, you were cold and it was a dick thing to do, but you're 17 years old and guys do dick things to their girlfriends at 17 because we think it was funny. It's just the way it is. It's just the way it is. Taking the sunroof off the car, though cold, and a dick move is not the end of the world. It's not. Your mother is spending hours on the phone with them, though. That's unacceptable. And after the first time, so he wouldn't stop calling. My mother talked to him on the phone several times. Why is it several times? Why wouldn't you stop it after the first time? One time she talked to him on the phone for over 2 hours. See, at that point, Christina, that's on you. At that point, you know he's calling. You know she's spending an hour or more on the phone with him, and you're letting it happen. You could have stopped it by talking to him on the phone. She was counseling and consoling him. I wish I remember what I said to her at the time. I just don't remember. I do remember that I wanted to be boyfriend free for a few days to calm down and really think. I remember walking by the kitchen and she was sitting there at the dining room table talking in a comforting tone to him. I do remember that she came into my room and told me he was genuinely sorry. I ended up forgiving him and continued to date him. I honestly can't remember if my mother influenced me. I did really like him. Like I said, I eventually married him. But I remember thinking that it would probably be the best thing for me to break up with him at that point and concentrate on more on other things. Remember, I was only 17. Right, you're only 17. So, freaking out over a sunroof isn't probably wasn't the best thing you could have done. But you got to understand, you are allowing your mother to carry this on with him. Why? Why? Why did you stop it the first time? Four, after my boyfriend and I got married at 19, I developed this anxiety about God and hell. Now keep in mind that I had stopped going to church after about a year of being forced to attend. By the time I was 19, I hadn't been to church in about 2 years. But I couldn't shake this anxiety that I was in danger of going to hell every single day because, after all, you never know when it'll be your last day. So I started going to church and really threw myself into it. I even got baptized. Well, this made my mother go bonkers. I won't tell you all the weird things she did. I thought she'd be happy since she was the one who had originally forced me to go to church. But instead she got meaner because church was supposed to control and ruin your childhood. See, you're missing the point of what church was for you. It was to ruin your child. You weren't supposed to now get benefit and draw from it. Even though I think it's negatively you're drawing from it. Your mother didn't see that. What your mother saw was her fucking plan backfire. That's why she got mean. What? You're going to enjoy this now? Fuck you, bitch. That's what your mother was saying to you. Church was meant to ruin your teenage years. Was to ruin your high school years. That's why she did it. That's why. She always criticized me for everything, but now her criticisms were nonstop. She particularly got obsessed with whether she was being honored enough. She would say, honoring your mother and father is part of the 10 Commandments. If you're going to be a real Christian instead of a fake one, you have to take the word of God seriously. Don't forget, she never set foot into a church again after that little stint when I was 16, because it was supposed to ruin your life. And she was going to find a way now to make it, you're going to honor me, I'm going to still ruin your life with it. The really weird thing that has haunted me for years is this. My mother asked me and my husband to come to my parents' house for dinner because she had something very important that she wanted to tell us. We went to dinner, everything seemed normal, but we were nervous about what this important thing was she wanted to tell us. After dinner, she asked us into the family room and tells my husband that she has word from God for us. Thank you for proving it. So now she's God again. Now she's talking to God. Do you understand this? She lost control. And this is her trying to get control over the religion farce over you again. Always goes right back. I'm God. I'm talking to God. Because I'm God. I'm your God. Backfired on her. She introduced you to this. This was supposed to just be ruining your fucking high school years. That was the purpose. Now she's panicked. The word from God is that my husband is a very important man and he will do very important things for God. For her. Remember now, She's God. She's making herself God because she's talking to him. So, how do you service God? By servicing her. Her little religious plan backfired. And now she's trying to save it. Now she's trying. God, talk to me. Why would he talk to you, bitch? You haven't been to church in decades. Or however long it was. It was years at that point. And he's going to come talk to you to go find the people who are going to church and give it. Why wouldn't he just tell him just himself? As soon as we got in the car to go home, my husband told me he did not believe my mother and felt very uncomfortable with all that. Because it's nuts. Of course not. It's nuts. I just want to say that my husband is a very nice man and we have a happy marriage. He never pulled another sunroof situation. I'm going to be honest with you. I think you were being a little histrionic with the sunroof, and I think you might even been trying to play your own little power play on him with the sunroof. I always removed my sunroof, even in the winter. When I always had a moonroof, it was always open because I liked the air. To be quite honest with you, and if you're going to be honest about it, the air from the sunroof doesn't, as long as the heat's on, it doesn't really affect the temperature in the car. Nor does it make the wind come in. I mean, I understand it's kind of a dick thing to do in the wintertime, but it's not the end of the world. And I would question, based on how you reacted to all that with your mother counseling him, was that really acting like your mother? Were you acting like your mother? Like kind of set up the whole situation for him to be preached to by her? Subconsciously? Maybe. Oh, by the way, I've written you about my mother before. She's the one who left me $10 in a will. And left the rest of her and my family's $1 million estate to her brothers, my uncles. I can't wait to hear your thoughts and hopefully get some clarity. Best, Christina. Well, that's why she probably cut you out of the will. She wanted your money. She wanted your husband's money. She wanted your husband's will. Understand. She came to you, said a message from God. I'm God. And what are you supposed to do to God? You're supposed to give him your money. You're supposed to give him whatever you want. See what happened here. And I think it might even explain why he ended up getting cut out of the will, is because your mother's religious plan backfired right in her face. Right in her face. Because all that religious plan was supposed to do was ruin your high school years, ruin your teen years, ruin your adolescence. And then when you started drawing from it yourself, oh, she didn't like that. And then she had to do what all these religious, fake, narcissist atheists do. Make themselves God. Say they're talking to them. And then by proxy, by disrespecting her, you're disrespecting God. And that's why she cut you out of the will. Because this whole little plan backfired. So, I hope that helps, Christina. Thank you for another contribution and story. I really appreciate it. Thank you to everybody watching. Please leave any opinions or advice in the comment section below. And again, if you want your story read on the channel, you have a topic you'd like me to cover, a narcissist you'd like to expose, you'd like to set up Skype, a phone call, have a private video made, or a Facebook live chat, or you'd like to sponsor a video like this for someone who needs help and can't afford it, or just make a contribution to the channel in general to keep it supported, growing, and successful, because this channel survives 100% on contributions from all of you guys. Without you, all of this goes away. So if you like what you see here and you want to see more videos like this, you know what to do with the PayPal and email links in the description box. Also, please like and share this video wherever you can. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't, and be sure to click the subscription bell to be notified of all my video uploads. I'm Ollie Matthews. This has been The Narcissistic Resistance. Take care.